Hi everyone, I'm Oliver from Lentus.com. In this tutorial we are going to create a 3D logo taking a 2D image as a reference. We'll take a look on how to work with curves to build the logo itself and then add some depth to make it look solid. Finally, a simple scene will be created and passed through compositing to get the final result. So, let's go! Let's start with this, and the first step is, of course, you guessed it, deleting the cube. So X and delete. Yeah, we always do it. Alright, so press 7 in the numpad to go to the top view, and the first thing I need to do is to get the logo here. Alright, I will get my logo, the one from Lentus. I will assume that you have your own, or otherwise you can go to Google and find another image of any other logo. Alright, it doesn't matter. The thing of this tutorial is that you get the process and how it's done. Alright, it doesn't matter which logo you will make. So I press N, and here we can activate background images and add an image and load it from the file browser here in Blender, but I will do it by just dragging it from a folder into the Blender view, alright? Just like this. And Blender already loads it like a background image, alright? We can press N to show and hide this menu. And here we have the background images, and here we have the image that I just selected. Now here we can select in which views we want to see this logo, alright? Because right now if I press 1 in the numpad and go to the front view, I still seeing it, and I don't want to do that. I only want this image to be shown in the top view, alright? So I go here to the all views and I select top. So now if I press 1 again in the numpad, of course it's not showing up. It only shows up in the top view. Right, so now I have this image here, and we can play with some stuff like the opacity of it, okay, to make it fully opaque, or to make it completely transparent, all right, depending on how much we want to see it. All right, now we can also put it on the back or in the front. In the back means that if we create models, they will be shown on top of the image, but if we put it on front, we are going to see the image on top of the models. So depending on your case, you may prefer one or the other. All right, and then with X and Y, we can just move it around to place it where we need it. All right, in this case, I will just keep it at 0, and I will just increase the size a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and create a curve. So press Shift A, and into curve, let's create a Bezier curve. So this is what Blender just created. So this is not very useful, as you can imagine. And well, we have some vertices, as you can see. We can move them around. And we have these lines, these pink lines that are the tangents, which allows us to create that curvy shape to smooth, to achieve a smooth effect, and also to decide how the curves are created between 2 points, all right? Because you can see that this S-like curve is just created with 2 different points, all right? We don't need a lot of points in the middle. So we just create that interpolation with the tangents, all right? Keep in mind that you can just select this point and rotate the tangents by pressing R, or scale them by pressing S and dragging. Right, so this is very fast and helpful. All right, so I will select these 2 guys. I will leave the pivot point here in the middle. By the way, I just entered into the editing mode by pressing tab. All right, you can also enter from here. So from the edit mode, you can touch the vertices. All right, now I'm just going to drag these guys here to these corners. Now you may be asking also, well, Oliver, you already have a logo. Why do you want to draw it again? Well, I'm drawing it again because we are assuming that we only have a 2D version of the logo, and now we really want to convert it into 3D, or maybe we don't actually have this image. We want to build the logo in 3D to render something like this, all right, like a 2D image. Or maybe we just have a sketch, all right? So we are using the sketch as a base to create the logo itself. So now here what we could do is to rotate this to create a straight line. But instead of that, what I'm going to do is to press A to select all of the vertices and press V in the keyboard. So this will let me see the options we have to create the interpolation between the vertices. So the one called vector is like a corner like. So now you can see that the lines are completely straight. We can also go to N, and we can go here and quit the handles. So we are only watching the vertices. All right, so let's go ahead and press Shift Space to work on full screen with this. And right now with E, we can extrude and move. So let's go for this corner. And there is another way we can extrude, which is select a vertex and just go into the position in the cursor right here and control left click, and it will just extrude it to that position, which is really handy. Like this, like this, like this. Keep in mind that when you extrude or duplicate a vertex, the next one will have the same interpolation type. All right, so if you have, for example, these ones are in vector mode. If they were in automatic mode or something like that, when you extrude them, they will be also automatic. So now we have these two guys. So we can press F to close, or as it's a curve, we can press Alt C. I think it's Alt C. Let's just check it out. Alt C, yes, exactly. Alt C, close the curve. All right. So it joins basically the end and start points of the curve. But as we are going to work with more curves around, I don't really want that to happen. So I will press F just to create another edge between these 2 points. So basically we have this shape. Now what? Okay, if we rotate, we have this shape. So let's press Shift Space to go to the options. And right here, we have the options of the curve. So you can see that now it's a 3D curve, which means that we can manipulate the vertices into the 3D world. All right. But instead of that, what I'm going to do is to use the curve as a 2D curve, which this doesn't allow me to just move this on the Z axis, because we are now only working in 2D. But what it allows is to create a solid mesh inside the curve. And now we can create holes and add other curves to it. All right, so this is exactly what I want. Let's go to the top view. And just to show you, I will create without going out from the edit mode. So everything stays and remains in the same curve. We are going here, create a circle. And as you can see, the circle creates a hole into this model. So as you can see, if I move it around, it creates a hole on the mesh. And if we put it here, we have problems because a part of it is outside the curve and another one is inside it. So it tries to generate something weird, and we have to stay inside or completely outside. If we stay completely outside, it will create another solid object. All right. So as you can see, it's very easy to create holes. So right now we are going to delete this with X, and we press Z or C in the keyboard to have a wireframe view. Okay, we can also select it from here. Instead of solid, just go to the wireframe mode so we can see the V and the T of the logo, and we can create them as well. But before, let's create this shape. All right, let's see what we have here. So let's create a circle. And this is, as I always say, the way to think creatively. All right, so we can't create a square, but we can actually create a circle. So, we scale it until, the corners are right on the position to be a plane. Right there. And now with the vertices, with this vertex selected, we can go ahead, press V in the keyboard, vector, and we already have this plane. All right, I mean a squared shape, and it is completely square because we created it from a circle. So yeah, it's you know, sometimes you have to think creatively. Now we add another Bezier curve, or instead of adding another Bezier curve, because right now these ones are you know, automatic curves with handles. All right, we are closing, hiding the handles for now because we don't need them. So to keep working with vectors without having to create a new curve and you know, changing the mode of interpolation between the vertices, what I will do is to just select this vertex and Shift D and move it. So now what I have is just another vector mode vertex. So let's go ahead, keep duplicating. Then we are going to have to deal with curves, but for now we are going to stay focused and work with vector-like curves. So here, as you can see, I'm kind of drawing the shape, but with straight lines. Right, then we will take care of the curves. All right, again, we select these two guys and press F to fill the gap. Now, if we press C in the keyboard to see how it's going, you can see that we have already our T. So let's arrange these curves. I'm going to select this one, this one, this one, this one. All right, for now, I think that will be enough. Right, and I will activate here the handles so we can see the tangents of each vertex. Now press V in the keyboard, and instead of vector, let's pick automatic. So you can see now we have curves here. All right, and it happens something here, and is that the handles of the vector one are like corny. All right, they are, you know, each side of the vertex is a different tangent. You know, when in the normal ones, we only can rotate all at once. All right, they are not independent. So in this case, what we need to do is to put this following the line. Now make this one smaller. Even make this one smaller as well. Go out from the edit mode to see how it looks. And all right, let's make this even smaller, rotate it a little bit. All right, and basically we need to go and arrange this until it looks like a cool curve. Here, as you can see, the curve is going up, then down, very subtle, but it's doing that. So let's arrange it. And okay, it looks pretty good. Now we need to do the same with this one. Let's make this small, something like this. Now let's go ahead and highlight this, arrange this one as well, make it smaller so it doesn't interfere with this one, because what happens when we have two handles very close from each other, it happens that the effect of one of them intersects with the effect of the other one, and that can create you know, weird curves. So be careful with that. All right, so I think it looks pretty good. Now let's go with the B. So for the B, let's go ahead and, well, actually just do the same. Just duplicate a vertex and start working with this. Actually, we can pick this handle and put it already there. And this one, press V and make it automatic. So we can start working with this one. Since this is a pretty long curve, so with this we can start working with that. Shift the space to work at full screen. And let's go here. And this one should be vector. So we go this way. You can see how in the same orientation, making it bigger or smaller changes the effect of the curve. And let's put this one like this, because now we need to go here and press F. And there we go. Now we need to start working on the central ones, which is something like this. Let's just, okay, do this for now. F to join them. As you can see, this is a real mess. We can select several vertices by pressing B in the keyboard and dragging to make a box selection, or we can press Ctrl and left click and drag to create a line, and everything that is inside that line will be selected, as in this case. So press V, select vector, and now select the ones that we want to have as a curve. Press V and say automatic. That's right. So let's just adjust them a little bit. Something like this. Okay. All right. Okay. So it's looking pretty cool. Now what we need to do is to make this look 3D and give it some perspective. So in order to do that, we need to get out of the full screen with Shift space, sorry. And now we can play with these parameters here. So here we can see that we have the shape in 2D. And now we can go ahead and here in the geometry, we can use this extrude function, right? And as you can see, it will give it some depth, right? Something like that. Not too much. All right. Now, with this bevel, with the depth and resolution, we can give it a bevel so these corners are smoothed out. So let's give it a depth. Just a little bit. Something like that. And as you can see, we have a bevel there. And now with the resolution, we define the amount of curves in the chamfer. As you can see, we are seeing this as in a mesh. So keep your eye on this shape. All right, this is the bevel. Now it has one division, and if we increase this, it has more, making this more curve-like and more smooth, which is exactly what we want. All right, so we have our 3D shape. But now, as you can see from the top, it's not exactly the same as in the reference. It has been made larger because of the beveling. So we can probably play with the offset, which makes everything, it's like the erode modifier in the node editor, right? Because have a look here. If it doesn't because of the offset, we can have this problem, right, in which lines are going together. We can also decrease the amount of the curve and keep playing with the offset. Something like that. And maybe now as that curve, the bevel is smaller, we can reduce the resolution a little bit. All right, so I think it's done for now. Maybe we can reduce the extrude. We really don't want it that that high. Okay, and now we are going to create a very basic scene with this 3D logo, all right, which was intended from the first place. So let's go to the front view, and here we can just drag it and place it over the floor like that. Okay, there we have the red line. We can even get it a little more down. All right, press 7 to go to the top view. We can already disable the background images because we don't need them anymore. And now we are going to create a plane, make it a lot bigger. All right. And now we can create here a very quick scene. Okay, so let's start for the basics. Let's just go here, and instead of Blender render, we want to select cycles render. I want to render this with cycles. So now we have this logo selected. Let's go here to the materials, create a new one, and let's pick logo matte, just to name this material. Now in this diffuse, instead of a diffuse, I want a mix shader, because I want to add a diffuse shader. Where you are, here you are, diffuse shader, and in the second one I want to add a glossy shader. This way I will have control in the amount of glossiness that the object has. Okay, the color will be something like orange. All right, and with this, with the mouse on top of the color, I press Ctrl C and Ctrl V right here to copy it. All right. Now, the other thing I want to do is to go to the render panel, make sure we are working with the GPU and that the resolution is correct and everything. All right, I think it's okay. So we can just create a window here to the preview. For the preview, just make this a little smaller. So here I want to see the preview with T and N. I will just hide that windows. And here I want to do a rendered preview of the scene. So this is the scene. This is how it's looking, the logo. Okay, let's actually go here to the sampling, and let's in the preview add some more sampling, like 50. Okay, now here let's create another material for the floor. New floor matte. Okay, that is the name for this material. And now we also want mix shader. All right, and I'm going to add a diffuse one. Here you are. It wants to resist to me. And here a glossy one. All right, so this is looking as I want, but now I want to add a texture to this floor. So let's go here in the color. Let's click this little button. And here I want to pick an image texture. Now it is magenta because we actually don't have an image selected yet. So we want to go here, press open. And here I have in this folder the logo I just used before and a pavement texture from plaintextures.com, a new website that has a lot of textures, and I really recommend you to check it out. So let's use that one. Open the image, and we are not seeing anything yet because this plane hasn't UVs. So let's go into the edit mode with tab, select everything, press U, unwrap, and there we are seeing already that texture. Now the thing is that we are not seeing it very well because we have the glossy material on top of it. If we disable a little bit the glossiness, like here, put in this, okay, this is the texture, but we really want a little glossiness out there. So let's go ahead and here, let's go to the node editor, jump on the materials, and let's play a little bit with this. So here we have the glossy and the diffuse. What I want to do is this diffuse to also apply in the color of the reflection. Okay, now we can as well define the amount of roughness here. Okay, and I think This is pretty cool. As you can see now, the floor is reflecting, but the dark areas on the pavement texture are not reflecting it. So only these parts that should be reflective are being reflective. So pretty cool. Now let's decrease the glossiness a little bit. Okay. All right. So now what I want to do is to go to the world, activate use nodes, and actually increase the illumination from the world just a little bit and make it a little orange like, just a little bit, because I want this orange and I want the whole scene to keep the same orange look. All right, now I want to select, let's go here, go back to the 3D view. I really want to select the light and go here to the lamp settings, activate use nodes, and increase a lot this lighting. All right, this is really a lot. It's really a lot, but let's just place it in a better place. Okay, something like this would be nice. Something like this probably. Okay, and I think it would be a good idea to place the camera as well. Right now the camera is seeing this, and I think we can place it in a better position. So here, if we press Shift and now left click on this Z axis, I can move the camera on the other two axes, Y and X. Keep that in mind. Pretty useful. So put it a little more up, and right here I will press Shift F to enter into the fly mode, so I can just drag a little the mouse and place the camera where I want it, something like that. And now with Shift F again, I can just drag the scroll wheel to get the camera a little farther from the logo. Just increase the composition so the logo is fully on the left area of the scene, but not so much so this shadow doesn't touch the border of the image, to have a cool composition. All right, so there we have it. And now I want to add a little more life to this scene. So what I will do is to add a couple of planes on top of it. So they add as lights and they reflect on this logo. So let's go ahead to the top view. Sorry. Press Shift A. Let's go create a plane and just move it up. Like here, for example. And just pick this S, Y. Let's scale it a lot. And with Shift and X, just drag it with here. Keep in mind that I'm dragging it with Control pressed, so we have some kind of snapping to the grid, so we can know that we are moving it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 grids. Okay, so I can do it again. Shift D, X, Control, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and we can even now go ahead and just select this one. And by the way, we could go with Control Tab and go to select a face, or we can just press L with the cursor on top of a shape, and it will select all the vertices that are touching it. So we can just go ahead and move it like 6. All right, down here when I'm moving it, it's Blender shows me the amount of units that I'm moving it. All right, I can just drag it again, X, and I can actually go and without pressing Control or any even dragging, just press -6, and there we go. And again, -6. Okay, now let's go ahead and do this with this 6. Okay, so I have plenty of them, I think. Let's see how they work. So let's add this, and I want this to be emission. All right, The strength is 1. Let's put a little orangey like color. And now let's go to the logo and play a little with it. Here they are reflecting, but we don't have a lot of reflectiveness in the logo. Let's see what we can do about this. So we don't want to decrease the roughness a lot, just a little bit, and we can move it so they cover the whole logo because the reflection is going that way. Right, we have the camera here, so the reflection is going something like this. Pum pum. Okay, so we need to have all these planes around here. This is just a trick, of course. All right, but well, we use tricks every day, so what's the problem? All right, we don't want to increase the strength a lot. Okay, but we can go here and try to decrease a little this. All right, I'm not actually liking this a lot. I don't actually like it. With this, everything is reflecting all the time, and it looks kind of interesting, but I don't quite like it. Yeah, let's go here and increase a little bit the roughness. Okay, it looks kind of interesting. What I need to do is to go here and add a more orange-like color. Something like that. And this light as well will have an orange color. So this reflection here is not white, but yeah, exactly. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. Go to the camera and let's pick the depth of field, which will be the plane 1, the Bezier curve. We didn't name the objects, all right? So this one would be the logo. This one would be the floor. This one will be the roof lights, okay? And we can actually press D and right click to remove this grease pencil line that I just drew before. And yeah, so now maybe we have here from the camera a better naming of the things. As you can see now, it's much simpler to select everything from here. So I want the logo to be the center. All right, and now I increase the size. So let's put it on full screen just to see how it looks. This is way too much. So what I will do is to press Shift F, and with the middle mouse button, just drag the camera down a little. Put it like this, even something like this. Okay. So now we are focusing into this place, and this part of the floor is focused, but here, closer to the camera, it's not. Let's just make it a little more subtle. Something like that. 0.3 maybe 0.25. Okay, I think this is cool. And now let's go here to the render layers that now they have, because some of you already asked me, because in my older tutorials, I always work with the render layers from here, from this panel. Thing is that since the two, maybe, I don't know if the last one or the two last versions of Blender already had a different separate panel here for the render layers, as you can see. So I just want to go here to the passes and create a new one for the glossy, all right? Because this brightness here, this amount of brightness, I want to, you know, use it then in compositing to make some brights and stuff. All right, now what I need to do is to cut these points, these little dots that you are seeing here, which are called fireflies. I need to cut them off. So let's go here in the sampling and in the clump. Let's, right, this is way too much. Let's increase this a lot. Let's put it on 1, for example, and see what happens. And just here in the preview, increase this like to 500. All right, here we can see with GPU is pretty fast, and here the image is already cleaning up. All right, 500. So the image is pretty clean, and you can see that now we don't have that little fireflies around. Okay, if we keep increasing this, we can see how those fireflies are starting to appear again, but they are quite controlled. All right. The thing with this clamping, parameter, what we can do is to reduce the amount of light in a given points, right? Because what happens is that sometimes if a point is very bright, if depending on the light and the material, overall it happens with reflective or refractive glass materials, we have more than one in the value of the color of that pixel, and which represents bad impression for the image, for the final image, and those pixels appear as a very bright color that has nothing to do with the rest of the image. That is called firefly. So what we do with this clamping parameter is to clamp the value of that pixels. So you can see here that we have 2.14 in some pixels, and we have some little fireflies, but yeah, it looks okay because it's bright and whatever. But the thing is that when we go under 1, we start to get a darker image because the brighter pixels of the image also get clamped, and we don't really want that. So 1 is usually a good parameter to put here. We shouldn't have a lot of fireflies with this parameter, but if you want to go down this value, just be careful. All right, but for now I think this works pretty fine. All right, so let's make sure that here the renders in the sample renders are okay. So let's put 500 because you can see that the result is pretty fine, like this. And now let's go to the render layers, and apart from the ones that we already activated, I'm going to activate also this one, the object index, right? And then I will explain you why. But the thing is that here, let's go out from the render mode. Let's go to the solid mode, select the logo. Let's go here to the object panel. And here we can see this pass index. Let's put it to 1. So now as you can see, the floor is on pass index 0 and the logo is on pass index 1. This means that we have internally the pass of the logo and the floor are separated, and we can have a node that will separate the two elements in the final image. All right, so I will tell you later why we need this. All right, so first let's go ahead and press F12 and pick a render. Okay, the render has been done already, so let's jump into the node editor. Let's activate use nodes. Make sure that you are in the compositing nodes. Okay, we have this, so let's press Shift space so we can work on full screen. And actually, let's just drag this to hide it. And we have these render layers. Let's take a look at them. So Control, Shift, and left click will create a viewer here. And the viewer allows us to activate the backdrop and see what's going on. Press V or Alt V to zoom in and out the image in the background. And with Alt and middle mouse button, we can just pan around the resulting image. Okay, the image we are watching here is the one that is connected to the viewer node. If we press Control and Shift here, we will jump through all the outputs of this image. All right, so as you can see, image, this is the alpha, this is the C value, the depth. The index object, this is what I told you before, the glossy direct, glossy indirect, and glossy color. There are 3 render layers that are like this. The glossy, diffuse, and transmission have 3 different channels, the direct, indirect, and color. There is one way to mix them in order to get the final result. All right, so what you need is to just do this. You need 2 mix nodes, and you need to do this. Now the first one needs to be in add mode, so you get this result, and the second one needs to be in multiply mode. Control Shift left click so we can see that result, and as you can see is kind of the full image, all right, because actually as the objects all the objects are glossy, having all the glossy channels together makes the final image, all right, because there is no transmission and there is no diffuse at all. So the thing is that you need to add first the glossy direct and the indirect, and then that result multiply it by the color. All right, this works with all of that 3 render layers as the transmission, glossy, and diffuse. All right, the way to take that 3 channels and mix them together to get the final result is exactly the same. All right, so okay, actually I think we don't need this at all, but well, let's use it. Actually, let's use it. So okay, let's go ahead, cut this with Control left click and drag. Okay, and here let's add a color, RGB curves. Let's give some contrast to this image. Like a lot of contrast. Then we can probably kill the saturation to make it black and white. So we have that values very defined, and we can define the color later. And what I want to do with this is to extract the brightness, the shininess of this object. All right, now we have a bad news here. Well, it's not bad news. I made it on purpose to be able to explain you this. As you can see, all the objects in the scene are glossy. All right, the logo and the floor have glossy materials. So what we need to do is to use the object index, this output here, to separate the objects on passes. All right, so as you saw, we put this object, the logo, in a different pass than the ground. So let's use it. Let's go here to Converter, ID mask, right? And this will create a mask depending on the ID pass. So let's go here to the index object, plug it here, and here the index will be 1. If we press Control Shift and click, you can see that this is that. The 0, which is the floor, is all the rest, and 1 masks this object. Let's activate anti-aliasing, and you can see that it's not really accurate, the borders, but we are going to actually blur the final result, so I don't care a lot about this. All right, so here what I'm gonna do is to create a mix node and put this here on the factor, and the image, this image, let's plug it here on the top. And as you can see now, what we are doing is to using this ID mask as a mask to mist the node. So now we can pick this color and make it black. All right, so now we have only these white values here for the shines of the logo, and the rest of the image is completely black. So we can use this to increase the shines or to create some glare effects on the logo, but only on the logo and not affecting the rest of the scene, like the ground, for example. All right, so this is pretty cool. Now, let's save this and let's go ahead. What we need now, we need to mix this with the original image. So let's go here, add a mix node right here, give some space here because we will need it. All right, viewer, everything's okay. And now let's go here, and from the image on the original render layer, let's plug it here. So the this one is in the top. Let's put this down here, because now we are going to work down here. And let's put this on add mode. And as you can see, we are adding a lot of effect. All right, you can see 0. And as we add, the effect increases. Let's try with overlay, for example, right? And it gives a different result. But the problem is that the black colors also are overlaying. So let's stay with the add one. Okay. Now let's go here to the color, filter, add a blur, and actually let's duplicate this blur down here, because we are going to create two different blurs. Press Shift, left click, create a reroute node here, and let's do that. All right, so now we have two outputs from here. And let's actually duplicate this, because we need to add these two guys before. All right, so now we have these two blurs, and let's work on the image that we want to achieve. All right, so here we want one blur to be really very little blurred and another one to be very, very big. All right, so let's do this one with 6, for example. There we have it. It's a very subtle blur, and this one will be like, I don't know, 40 and 4. All right, because we wanted 6 maybe as the small one. All right, and this is the result that we have. Now with this first node, we can control how both brights are shown. Okay, and actually here, let's increase this amount like a lot, because I want actually to get a very extensive horizontal and anamorphic shine, something like that. We can activate here bokeh, because that gives better results. And actually let it be for now, because we will change that later. All right, and now what I want to do with this is to actually go ahead, add a color mix. All right, and put this on top maybe. Let's see what happens, because we need to tint this image in an orange-like color. All right, so let's see how it works. Instead of mix, let's work with add. No, multiply. All right, multiply does well. Okay, and let's change this color. Okay, like something like this probably will do. Okay, so now we have this shines tinted and ready to be applied on top of this. And now increase this a great deal. Okay, let's make this a little reddish. Something like that. And we can actually go ahead and keep adding on this. See what it looks like. So something a little subtle. Yes, and yeah, it's a pretty cool result. Now let's go here. All right, here you can play a lot with this effect and this result. Okay, I'm just testing it out and showing you the the let's go here to color balance to correct a little. So let's try to give everything a little orange-like color. Exactly. And probably go ahead and apply a bright contrast and add a little contrast to the image. No, this is like a lot. Okay, before, after. Well, it's not that big difference. Right, this is just a little more contrast. I don't like this kind of color. That's right. This can give some contrast, make it a little bluish to the floor. Yeah, I kind of like this better. Yeah. Alright, so I think I like this result. So now just plug this to the composite. And as you can see now, you could play a lot with these shines here. Okay, because that is, that will give a lot of life to the scene, but I don't think it's really accurate right now, and that, it's way too much. But I get obsessed with this kind of effects, and yeah, something more subtle like this probably would work much better. Yeah, but you can play with this a lot and see what happens. And yeah, so this is the full project. This is the full logo. You can use any other logo you want. It can have different pieces with different colors and whatever. But yeah, I just wanted to show you some cool techniques to work with this. So I hope you learned a lot from it, and see you on the next tutorial. Happy blending!